I'm just playing in my journal, and I thought I'd just turn the camera on. I'm beginning to really like collage play. One of the first ones that I did, I mean, I always collage, well, not always, but I collage backgrounds a lot, but there was one, I used a little outfit or body here to collage this girl, and I really enjoyed that process. So I had been cutting out some images here and there a while back and decided I'm going to play with them this morning. This dress was in an Allure magazine, and I really like it. I think the color, though, if you guys follow me on Instagram or even watch my videos, you'll know that these pinks and magentas really appeal to me. But I've got this vintage flower, and this came from, what is this one? The Old Design Shop on Etsy. So I think I'm gonna put it in here. This is one of my girls' faces. And this I found yesterday. She is amazing, comma, period. I think I want to add that in there because there's black in her dress. I usually don't use a lot of lettering with the black in the background, but I think this will do this page appropriate. Anywho, that's my thoughts so far. So first thing I wanted to do was put her on this left side of the page with her head tilted, and I'll end up cutting some of this dress off. But I'm going to put her down, and I would glue this with a glue stick, but because I use so much wet medium on top of my pages, it wouldn't work. It would ruin the paper. So I'm going to use the Liquitex matte medium, the fluid, and I'm going to tilt her head slightly and put her on down. Put a little more of that on here. Has anybody else been bothered by sinuses this spring? Which our spring disappeared. It went straight into summer. It seems to be worse this year. I don't know. If I can put it like that, and I'll draw her a neck to attach her. The neck she had was kind of long, and this was in a, I don't think it was in this journal I drew her, but in another one, and I just copied it, or maybe made a picture and just gonna rub some of this excess off. I think I might have just took a picture and then printed it out. I don't remember. Since I got so much of this matte medium over here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this. I wanted this hanging over here. There, and I think I might draw some more of those, or attempt to anyway. Some more of those flowers. And cut the tail end of this dress off. Try to push some wrinkles out. If there is some, it's no biggie. Go this way. I always tend to do things the hard way, y'all. Like I was going to try this. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to let this dry, or use the heat tool. I'm just smoothing it out with my fingers here. Try it with the heat tool and be right back. Alrighty. So if you're not comfortable with drawing your own faces, I'm sure you can find a lot of them on Pinterest, and I have some collage sheets on Etsy with some faces, and I may do some more with some different faces. She's feels a little tacky still, but it's okay. I'm just going to add a little neck there, a little bent neck. Then I'll paint the rest of that in. trying to figure out how do I want more of these flowers kind of coming off here. I think I will. And I'm just going to try to imitate some of these little bits here. And they don't have to be perfect. Just a heart with a little loopy loop on it, looks like. And you guys, when you're ever trying to draw these things, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's one thing I like about art. I really like the imperfect part. Just playfulness. See, that's far from perfect. But I'm going to just darken it in and leave it. A lot of times just like this picture, I'll go over it several times with squiggly lines, so if you do have mistakes like this part, you just kind of disguise it and make it look intentional. There. Erase a little bit of that out. And I think sometimes these erasers just aren't crazy about this gesso background. It tends to smudge a bit more. Should we do some leaves coming down too? Let's see. That is not very good, is it? Oh well. It'll do. It's not too horrible, is it? Oh. Okay, now I want to figure out what I want to do with colors around here. If I want to do watercolor or acrylic. I think I'm going to put some gesso on her face first of all. So if I do put some watercolor over it, it'll stick to it a little better than the matte medium. You can see my nasty palette over here. Okay, I don't want to forget that. So I'm just going to go over her face lightly. Because I want to see those features good enough so I can trace over it with a pencil. I guess this matte medium's probably, I don't know, I guess maybe all of them are if you don't put it too thick. Have a little bit of a transparent quality about it. So by putting this matte medium on here, I'll do the neck too, and it'll kind of pull this whole face together. Should I do her hair? Probably should. Because I want that watercolor to kind of puddle on it somewhat. One thing about your fingers, you can get a good smooth texture with putting your finger in it and smoothing it around. Okie dokie. While that's drying, I'm gonna get these watercolors out and do a little on these flowers. And this was just over gesso here, so it should hold up okay. And one of my favorites in this Daniel Smith is that Quinn Rose. I'm going to loosely just dab it in, not try to be, it doesn't matter if you go in or out, you know, out of the lines. And I think I might put a little purple on these other little pieces that hang out of here, like almost like a fuchsia plant. And see, it's going over this matte medium part here, okay? But I do love the way watercolor does on gesso. Okay. So for the green, I'm going to do the sap green. I'll put some on this leaf. And it's not going to be as dark on this one because that other one has a black background. There. And then I may take some extra water in that sap green. And this may disappear in a little bit, but I just got it all over her face. Oh well. It's okay. I don't want it on her. I could just cover that, I suppose. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this carbazole, is that how it's said? Purple, it's a purple color. And put it in these little pieces here so it looks almost like that fuchsia plant I have in the hanging basket outside. I'll take more of this Quinn Rose, kind of darken some of these parts out, not the whole thing, but give it a little bit more dimension, just by kind of tapping it in, and it gives it these cool little puddles of color. Plus my coffee gives me when you don't eat, you get little caffeine shakes. There. You'll know purple with that green will probably make a little bit of a brown. So I'm going to take this purple here so it kind of pulls everything together and put a little bit in here. And it should play nice together because it's the same purple here, although it does change the color. There. It makes a nice brown actually. For that it does. I'll put some in here. Probably won't be able to see it as good. That might be too dark. Let's try to make that look okay together. And deepen this up a little bit, kind of go along with that other one. There. Gosh, I am shaking this morning. So I'm going to turn this so I can kind of do these stems a little bit here. And I could have used a finer brush, but this will be okay. Oh, that looks nice. There, now it looks like it belongs together, huh? I like it. And you got the pink in this dress, so it looks good. Okay, now her face is dry enough. We can go in and paint it. And I need to move my stuff a little bit. So, I don't need that too wet on her because it'll start moving that color. I'm going to use some yellow ochre. And paint her face in. And I might do a all over color here. A lot of times I'll use the background as the highlights and not fill it all in, but with her I think I'm going to need some color because that, yep. And I do that all the time. I actually gave it a good texture. Oh, okay. I need to dry it, don't I? Okay. I'm reaching around this tripod here. I'm hoping soon we're going to hang some curtain rods in here, and I'll use that for a camera mount. I want to get those old industrial, what are they called? Shoot, like galvanized steel, and just hang it up in here, and then I can mount a hardware from it. Yeah, I really like the way that came out, and it was just a quick scribbly. Looks pretty. So with her, since it's going to pick up regardless whether it's dry or not, if you move this around too much on here, on this gesso, I'm going to go ahead and kind of shade a little bit. I'll just go around the parts of her face, and I'm just going to dab it a little bit. I'm not going to pull it too much because it will start lifting super easy on this gesso. So I take a not so wet, well, not so dry, but just semi-wet brush, and see how I went back in there and it started showing white through? I dabbed it too much. So I'm going to go around and take a almost dry brush and kind of dab and push into it, and then leave it alone. That's the hard part. Just trying not to touch it, and because it lifts so easy, if you get it in the eye, you can lift it right out. I really should dry this before I ruin it. I have to keep looking, see if this thing's cut off on me. It's bad for that. Let me dry this, because I know I'm fixing to mess it up. I can feel it. I'll be right back. Okie dokie, now I can finish her face. So I was going in with this burnt umber, is what I'm using to kind of shade her face a little. Ooh, way too wet. I'm just going to dab and tap these areas. And some of this I can actually with my pencil, when I go in to pull her features back out, I'll shade too, so it'll kind of color this in. And then on her neck I want it a lot darker, like the forehead there. And she looks a bit speckly, but it's okay. Now to decide what her hair color needs to be. Should it be pink? It's too much. I might do a Payne's gray for her. She needs a darker hair. This brush is a Princeton Neptune number 4, and I get a finer point on my number 8. I don't know why I grabbed this one, just because it's small, I guess. I get a smaller point with my favorite, that Silver Black Velvet number 8. I could have gotten in this area even better with it, because these do not, they don't give a pointy tip to play with. They're nice, but they're not my favorite. They started out being a favorite, but the more you play, there. Now I think when this dries, I may come in with a little bit of pink or something, and maybe we'll see how that looks. I think what I'm going to do now is take my pencil, get this dry first, and then take my pencil and pull her features out. Keep looking up at this camera, make sure it's still on. And I've noticed that the timer thingy on there blinks. I think it's about to cut off. So I stopped it and restarted it. Anywho, now I'm going to go in with pencil. And this is the B lid. I'm going to turn this because it's just the way I do better at an angle. I need to sharpen this a little too. I don't need that to be that dull. I'm just penciling all this in, and then I will of course take my blending stump and pull all of these lines out. And just by reusing your own art or collaging someone else's, you can get a page that satisfies you without as much work and effort. And you still get that zen time in the mornings or whenever your creative period might be. Here. Oh, where's my skinny stump? I still just love when you use a blending stump, and I know I'll repeat this over and over. When you add that stump and smudge everything out, the difference it makes. And if you overdo it, like I just did, you can erase some of it. I'm going to go ahead and do it all, then come back with my eraser though. Yeah, I'm a little too heavy over here with that. There. I know I get quiet, but this is usually my quiet time in the mornings. So I'm going to go back in with this little teeny eraser, which I absolutely love. And it always, I rarely get streaking with this no matter what I'm erasing it off of. I'm just going to lift a little bit of this out, just slightly going over it. And some oblong kind of strokes, so it's not a straight. So it kind of blends instead of leaving streaks. Take a little bit out of her lips, that was a little too dark. There. Cool, cool. I should have done her hands, or I think I'm just going to leave them alone. I could just outline it a little. And that'll be enough for that. So because this is still going to lift easy, I'm going to be extra gentle, but I want to put a little bit of this Quinn Rose in and around her face. So I'm just going to dab a little on her nose and then gently tap it with a almost dry brush to kind of lift it, but leave a little behind, because I'm not going to put my brush in there and move it like this, because it will definitely pick all the color that I've already put down, the yellow ochre and the other. So I'm going to do her lips all kind of dark, but I'm going to lift some of that other out, because it's easier to lift it out than to put it all than to try to change the color on it right here. But I'll show you in a second. So I'm just going to barely dab a little around her eyes. Just a smidgen. I'm just barely tapping to lift some of that, because I know yesterday when I was doing the other one similar to this, I lifted too much out by moving it too much. And by using these same colors, if you choose just a few colors and put them all throughout your page, even if you mix them, just choosing those 3 colors and using some and mixing them, it just makes the page flow nicely. So what I'm going to do, because what I just said, this purple over here, I'm probably going to put some of that in her hair to kind of do some shading with it, and then you'll see how it kind of pulls it. So when her lips dry, I will pull some of that out too. And I know these angles are wonky, but we all probably have to move our pages. So I'm going to put this purple in a little heavy around the there, where it would be a little bit darker. Where I like for it to be a little darker, especially around here. And sometimes if you only have the purple in the tip of the brush, but the whole brush is wet, you can tap it or even lay it down and it'll blend out for you. Yeah, I like the way that looks. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of Payne's Gray around the edge and darken that up just a little. Just pull it together a little bit more while this purple's still wet, and it'll blend it even more so. Leave it alone. See, I'm starting to lift it up there. Yep, I'd say she's almost done. And I'm really not digging that purple in there. I don't know why. So I'm going to go in with Payne's Gray a little darker there. I think that purple, I don't know. I'm not liking it. So I'm going to take that Payne's Gray, kind of go over it even darker. And it's still there, but it's gonna, yep, that's much better. Yeah, my other brush would have made little squigglies even thinner, but that's okay. So where I said I was going to pull that out of her lips, I'm going to get an almost dry brush and get this as pointy as I can get it. And just touch where I want that color to lift. There. I think that's it for her. So now it's like this page, these are here, and I want to kind of pull it together. And by doing that, I'm talking about the background needs some work. And I'm debating on whether to, I think I want to put some of this brown around the edges, kind of antique it up a little bit. So I'm going to get my favorite brush and get some of this burnt umber. I'm going to put it heavy on my palette here. Whoops. A lot of water. And pick up a good bit of color. I'll probably have to do that again. I'm going to kind of flood this side of the page, trying not to get her hair because it's still wet. There. You see how this page, this part of the page didn't have the gesso on it, and it gives you that texture. I love it. That's why I like when I put gesso on the page, to kind of be sporadic with that palette. What is it called? This palette knife. Okay, so this is where we can kind of pull this page together by putting some of this brown in and around here without touching it too much. Just kind of going in and around imperfectly. There. And some of those paints that I splattered on here before may kind of smear, but that's actually really good. It's okay. I may even put some more, I don't know, there's pink in there, so I'm going to get some more of this color. We'll do it kind of dark around the bottom. Whoops. And I may do this too at the corner of this page, make it a little darker. We shall see. If you don't like it, you can lift it with a cloth, where the gesso is anyway. Cool. I think I'm going to make this corner darker, kind of opposite of this. Add some water, let it pull, and I tilt the page so it gives them some drip drops. I need some up here. Gosh, don't you love that? I do. I love the way that pulls. So because I like where that's at now, I'm gonna, let me add a little bit right here. I'm probably gonna stop and dry it, because I like where all this dark is kind of leaving me some little trails. I'm gonna dry this and be right back. Okay, I do like this, but her face and this background are all kind of washing out to me. So I'm going to hopefully not ruin this. Trying to see, do I want to put this around here with a palette knife? I don't know. Just going to take it off on my finger. I might just do some. That's going to pick up some of that brown back there, but that's okay. It gives it a different texture, that's for sure. Kind of tone some of this down around her so she kind of stands out a little more than I may go in with a little bit of pink too. Let's see. Kind of like that a little better, not so perfect. Kind of smushy about. What y'all think? You think I ruined it? There's just nothing like getting your hands all in it, is there? I'm trying to get more loose in my play, because before I would have had to have all of this blended ever so perfectly. And now leaving some of my marks in there with my fingers is kind of cool. There, I do like that a little better. Baby wipe my finger off a little bit. Cool. There. Now I think some white splatters will do good. I'll try some of that and see too. And then I'll put some more colors on top of that as well, the splatters. This is kind of my back and forth in the mornings. Probably much faster though, because I'm not talking and trying to be what's the word? Make sure I don't forget anything for anybody. Okay, now what I just did on them flowers, there's a lot of white right there. I'm just going to dab it. And although it's still there somewhat, but it's not as, it kind of set them too far back in the picture, but this lets them come back forward. There. I think though now I can put some pink and green splatters in there, and that will pull that back together. When I say that, I'm just saying it'll make the whole page kind of fit. Let's see, get my water brush, get some of that green. I like it when I get the bigger drips sometimes. There. Now some of that Quinn Rose. Alrighty. I think I'm going to do some blobs of that too. Here and there. And here I am using my watercolor brush, and I bet this gesso isn't even dry. It isn't. Oh yeah, that looks good. I'll do that over here too. Do this in some more spots and drip it. You can never have too many drips and splatters. Yep, I really like that. That looks much more better. cool. So I will dry this, and then I'm going to put my words on here, and I don't know if I'm going to frame this out yet or not. I may, but I'm going to cut these, I do believe. Do I want to cut this up and put it individually, or just, I think I am. But let me dry this, and then I'll be right back. Okie dokie. I think, you know what I do? I think because her dress has this black in here, it's kind of throwing me for a loop with her hair. And I almost want to use a pen, but I know I dislike pens so much. I know I would probably slap myself silly if I did that and then messed it up. So I'm going to cut this point right here off. And I think I'm going to just do it this way. So with this black, and this black, I know I'm going to outline this some more with pencil, probably in a 4B lead, because this this one that I had printed out has that pen outline. So I'm going to grab the 4B Stabilo. Where's my 4? Yep. Sharpen it a little, and I'll have that ready. So I may just use the glue stick and put this down. This is Uhu glue stick I like. I've seen people using one that has blue, and I'd like to see if I can find that one, the blue, so you can see where you're putting it. Is that straight? You know, it's funny because sometimes I'll go back, there's really nothing on my mind sometimes when I'm doing these, that I think anyway, my pages. And when I go back and flip through, it's amazing the little things you notice that were going on in your life are kind of represented in your work. It kind of comes out. For me, this is my therapy time every morning. I say therapy because it truly takes me away. We had a tragic incident a little over a year ago, and if it wasn't for my art, I would have, I don't know, I hate to even imagine what would have. But that's my purpose of doing these videos, is if I can help anyone find that zenful moment and have a creative aha, or just get away and escape their mind for a little while and having something that they can be pleased with afterwards, that's my heart. It really truly, that's it for me, because I know how healing it can be. So if there's questions you have, and it's anything I can help you with as far as technique goes, I don't mind helping, because woohoo, if you can, gosh, if you can find that moment, that quiet time, and escape for just a little while, it truly helps my days every day. And that's why I get up every morning before everybody else is. Yeah, I do. I just make time for it. And it's not like I have to make time for it. I want to get up, because it is such an escape for me. And it doesn't have to be perfect. But the more you play, you discover, and things just kind of start coming together. So don't get frustrated. If it is getting frustrating to you, maybe find a different creative route, because you totally don't need to be frustrated. Not when arting, that's for sure. And I'm just going to do some scratchy lines around this. And I think to pull this page together, because I do like framing this in, I am going to do the same thing around it. And a lot of times what I do here is because this page isn't, try to get this line as close to parallel with the edge as possible. But on this part, I'll take my finger and find the distance, and that kind of keeps it straight. I'll just kind of drag it just like you would a T-square on a piece of wood. If any of you hubbies or any of you do any kind of home improvement, you'll know. There. Now, because this has this frame, this kind of pulls that. It goes well now. And I think she's done. What y'all think? Anywho, get your Zen time on. And until next time, if you have any questions or requests even, give me a shout out down below. And I thank y'all for watching. Bye. Y'all know what? To be continued. I was looking at her face and thought she looks mighty dirty. I can't leave her like that. So I'm just taking some gesso. Just wanted to get you back here just for a minute so you didn't see this post and say, that doesn't look like her picture. But there, that softens that up. And it'll kind of blend those watercolors. I couldn't leave her that way. She was really looking dirty. She can't have this sexy dress on and be outside working in the garden. Oh, okay, now her nose. There. Much happier with that. What y'all think? Now, I think this time I will be gone, because that fixed her up. She's a little more pale, but that's okay. I'm a pale chickie. Do her hands just a little bit. Not that much. Okay, now, there you go. Go have fun. Thanks for watching.